Well, I'm not sure if it's streaming yet or not. You see me? I can't. I love YouTube. Let me get my phone going here so I can see what the heck's actually being broadcast. I'm using their new interface and there's nothing telling me that I'm actually live right now. So sorry about that, guys. Let me open up the app. But anyway, welcome to the stream. So today's going to be a little bit shorter than normal. Hope it should be anyway. I have to go to a birthday party for my mom, so it's going to be a little bit of a shorter one today, but we got something really cool going on. Kevin sent in some lilac. I was thinking of something else. Lilac from like a bush in his yard. He sent me 2 sticks of it. It's, you know, like a branch or kind of the post of it. I'm not sure exactly which part. But I thought that'd be pretty cool. I've had it for a little while. He's been kind of hounding me to get on it, but I couldn't stabilize it until the temperatures dropped a little bit. So they have, and I've been kind of running some stabilizing. So that's what we're going to do. And I got one of them cut up already. So I'm going to switch to this view real quick. Make sure everything's going on. Let me know if there's any problems or anything. Like I said, I can't really tell what's happening. But yeah, so here's this piece, a little bit kind of a close-up. We got this and it's stabilized. And then I cut the other one. It was the same, you know, style as this. I just basically cut it down the middle and then cut it into little quarters. And I thought we'd do some pen blanks with it. I thought this would be kind of fun. We can see how that looks in a pen blank. So we'll do that one. And then for this one, I was thinking we can kind of put them a different direction. So we'll do some pen blanks like this. And then this one, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut this down. I'm going to go over to the bandsaw, cut it a little bit. And I thought we'd do a vertical casting with this and make some, you know, like either like a handle or you know, something like that, like stopper blanks. And just kind of have it kind of sit in the middle, but then fill it with some resin. I thought it'd be kind of fun. I don't know. So kind of a simple one today. Not a lot going on, but we will get 3 castings going. And of course, I will need some help with colors from you guys in the chat. So real quick, if you haven't already subscribed to Kevin's channel, he's a YouTuber also. So if you haven't checked out his channel, there's a link to it. Go and give him some love. He does resin casting and turning stuff, pens and all that kind of good stuff. So pretty cool. So big thank you to Kevin for sending that stuff in. Let's see here. Let me stop really quickly and I'm going to go. At least I can see the chat on my computer today, but I can't see the actual stream. So I don't know. Thank you, YouTube. You're killing me. Anyway, so lots of people. Holy cow. Wow. The chat's going nuts. OJ's here. What's up, dude? How's it going, man? Good to see ya. Ray's here. Nice. Nice. Let's see here. Scotland, nice. Lots of people. Texas. Lots of people from Texas, I see. Let's see here. Oh, Alex is doing the pistachios. Nice. Have fun with that. Those things turn into cool, like really cool blanks. I've done that before, and they were really cool. They're kind of hard sometimes on the tools, but you know, just to give you a little bit of a warning. Rich, what's going on? Okay, so let's get going. Like I said, I got to get up into almost to Reno. It's my mom's birthday, so we got to have a party for her, obviously. So I want to get up there as early as possible. So let's get to casting, like I said. So first things first, we already got this ready. But what I want to do is I want to toss this. I'm okay. Choking on my own self. Let's toss this in the oven, get it warming up. I'm going to switch to the other view real quick. I'm going to finish. That is totally the wrong view. I'm going to finish loading up this mold. So what I was thinking was we'll kind of flip-flop these guys. And I'm hoping they don't float too much. You know, I can also put something kind of over top of this thing so they don't really rise up or move a whole lot on us. Let's get these guys kind of loaded in here. These molds are the P-Town Subby molds. So if you're looking for some pen blank molds, Fred Wisson makes these and he does excellent work. So now we got our pens lined up. I think these will be kind of cool. I'm going to toss these 2 molds in the oven. And then real quick, I'm going to go and cut up that other piece and get it ready as well. So I'm just going to kind of flip the camera over to kind of the far end of the shop. And so you can kind of see, but all I'm doing is just ripping it on the bandsaw. Hey, Julie, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Nice. I will tell my mom. She knows that I'm doing a stream today, so she'll get a kick out of that. North Carolina, nice. Lots of people. So it's weird because one thing that I'm not super enthused about, so I saw the super chat, but there's no like super chat window that's YouTube killing me. Oh, here we go. Viewer, okay. Sorry guys. I'm still learning their new like software setup. This is the first time I've actually used it and it worked. So we're working with that. But like I said, I can't actually see it's not showing me like what's actually playing. So it's kind of a weird setup. Hopefully they'll get things kind of fixed on this. And so what I'm going to do is we'll just do a pipe casting. And I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag real quick, guys. See this plug? These are coming soon to Turner's warehouse. So you guys know how I usually do like especially larger pipes. I usually do it with a piece of HDPE and then hot glue the tube down, which in some cases I would still do this. It can be kind of nice to be able to hot glue certain things down to a piece of HDPE. But, you know, you got to sit there and wait for the hot glue and then glue the heck out of this, and demolding is not as easy, you know. So Chad, smart guy that he is, came up with these guys. And one of the problems is I like silicone plugs, but the bigger ones don't tend to stay in typically because they're like just tapered and they fall out. These things fit perfectly, and so he's going to have a bunch of these different sizes. So we'll try and see what we can do with however much lilac we have left. We might do one or two depending on what's going on. But this is kind of, like I said, a heads up beforehand. I think he's going to be getting those things in stock pretty soon. And he doesn't know that I just told you guys necessarily, but I think he kind of said, yeah, you could let it slip on the live stream. So I don't think he's going to get mad at me. But pretty cool. That's a really cool thing for resin casters. That you know, Chad has so much stuff at Turner's warehouse already, but he's a caster and a turner just like all the rest of us, and so he's always looking for handy dandy little things that, you know, will help us do our job either faster or, you know, better. So he's always trying to kind of innovate a little bit. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to turn you guys on mute so you don't have to listen to my bandsaw and all this stuff, and I'll be right back. All right, just put a new bandsaw blade on there, and it's cutting beautifully. So I want to show you guys one thing real quick. So this is what these pieces look like, you know, when you send them to me. They are stabilized, but this is what they look like, and they have the bark on them. I actually stripped the bark off on those other pieces because a lot of times the bark will just kind of come off, and you really definitely don't want that to happen with pen blanks. So I've stripped the bark off of these little round pieces, or, you know, quarter rounds. I'm gonna leave it on for this one because what I plan to do is stick it in the pipe with the bark kind of, you know, where it's not gonna really be cut away. So I kind of liked the look of the bark, but I was a little worried that it would kind of come apart when you're turning a pen. So I stripped it on the pen blank ones. So I'm gonna get both those molds and these two chunks of wood that I just cut in the oven. Rich, nice. Have I used Total Boat? I have not used Total Boat. I don't really plan to because I don't really need, like, epoxies all kind of tend to work about the same, I would say, you know, in my experience. And frankly, I don't really like the long working time of epoxies typically. So 80 to 90% of what I do is Alumilite. I did do some testing with Stone Coat, but I don't really plan to use Stone Coat for anything. They're the thicker one from them, or sorry, the longer, sorry, let me go back real quick. The one that I made the big blank out of, I was curious to see if you could cast it in large quantities, but I would go with Alumilite Clear Slow Set personally for large castings. It's just, I like the working conditions, you know, it's faster. And then for other, if I need working time, I usually go with liquid diamonds epoxy. So there's not really, I don't really have a big need to try different ones, but in general, I think they all kind of work the same. One person that you should ask about Total Boat is Doug Pole Barn. He's done lots of castings, but like I said, for the most part, all these epoxies kind of are, you're going to get similar results. They should work pretty good for casting, especially if you've seen other people, for casting for turning blanks. If you've seen other people making, blanks with them, then generally they're probably going to work okay. So that's the one. Yeah, that's the problem. 24 hours, which may be how long you have to leave it in the pot, and then 5 to 7 days full cure. That's actually, okay, so 5 to 7 days full cure is pretty standard for most resins. But like I said, what I recommend people do if you've never really used a resin before, just get a small quantity of it and do some testing. See if you like it. If it works for, the way that you work, the working time and all that kind of stuff, the hardness, then it's a good resin to use. It's not, generally, most epoxies work fairly well. And then Alumilite's a polyurethane, and it's the one that I like the best, but it's part of the reason for that is because I've been using it forever, so I just know exactly what to expect. So hopefully that answers your question, but thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. So let me just double check, see what's happening in the chat here. Lots of birthday. I'll let my mom know about the birthday wishes. She'll like that. Would my book help you with measurements of resins? I don't know if I really discussed that too much. You can just, there's a link. Go to Alumilite, and I think Smooth On also has it, but Alumilite's got a volume calculator. So you can just go there and enter in your dimensions of stuff, and then it'll spit out about how many ounces you need to use. And you can just, you can do it also by volume. If the resin you're using is by volume, you could just fill the mold, the cavity that you're going to be filling with resin, with like rice or something like that. Fill it up, and then you can figure out how much volume, then dump it out into a cup. You'll know how much volume you would need if you're using a volume measured resin. So there you go. Hopefully that helps out. Like I said, I don't know if the book's going to really help with that. The beginner's guide is really just kind of a broad overview of what types of stuff do you need to get started? What types of things can you make? That was an important section that I put in that book. I think it's important to understand what you can do with resin. Then, you can bring it into like pen blank making and knowing that there's, people are doing this with it. You can incorporate that into your work. But there is a which resin do you want to use? So there's 3 types of resin, and there's like kind of a chart that kind of shows you the different characteristics of each one. So it's good for that kind of stuff, but not necessarily like measuring, measuring the resin necessarily. I don't know if I have any section on that specifically. So let's see here. Oh, Kim's here. What's up? Nice. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to mention is the classes are up on Turner's Warehouse website. So I'm going to be doing classes, classes November 10th. And I have, basically the one-on-one classes, they're all booked up at this point, but there's still, I'm not sure how many spots, but there's still spots available for the morning beginner resin casting class at Turner's Warehouse in Phoenix. And again, November 10th. So just I'm going to go grab the link. It's not super direct how you find that. On the Turner's Warehouse website, there's a menu item called calendar, and you have to navigate to November 10th and then click on the one-on-one beginner resin casting. So I'm just going to get you guys a link because it'll be a little easier if anybody wants to check it out. So there we go. There's the link for you guys, and I'll put a link down in the show notes after this for the replay for anybody. If you are interested in classes, it's going to be pretty fun. I like the beginner one. We've done that. I've done it, I think, once at Turner's Warehouse, and everybody really had a good time. And it's really fun doing those kind of group things, talking about getting into resin casting and all that stuff. And everybody always has some really good questions, and it's pretty fun. So, Jamie Page, what's up? The traditional super chat. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's see. We got. If you're just joining us, we're going to be casting some. lilac. I keep forgetting. I want to say something else. Lilac branches that we got from Kevin, excuse me, Kevin Carpenter. I got something going on with my throat today. Kevin Carpenter. So we got those warming up in the oven right there so we can get them cast. We're going to do some pen blanks, and we're going to do at least one of these. I think this is a 2-inch PVC pipe, and we're just going to kind of dunk it in there. So we're going to do the pen blanks first. So what kind of colors? Let's see, we got 3 super chatters, so let's give you guys some color options first, since you guys are helping support the show. We really appreciate that. So Julie, Rich, and Jamie, you guys, let's let you guys create whatever you want for this first batch of pen blanks. You guys can each pick a color. Let's do, I'm really excited about these ones, so I'm going to switch camera views. I want to see how these go. So what I've done is I've cut these into little kind of quarter rounds, and we're just going to kind of put them in the mold like this. So let's do 3 colors with this. Each one of you guys pick a color, and we will mix up some resin and make some pen blanks out of that. What do you guys think about that? Let's see here. She felt my presence. Oh man. Oh man. Hey, what's up, Eric? How's it going? You just went to Turner's Warehouse? Nice. It's a great place. And I mentioned that in my video that talking about the classes. Like if you live in the Phoenix area or kind of are near that, it's a really awesome store. If you're into pen turning and just turning in general or resin casting, Chad's got everything. He's got a full retail storefront up front, and then his shop is awesome. And he's, you know, he'll let you kind of check it out if you're not there for like a class or anything. He'll let you kind of poke around in the back. He's got a really full featured shop. I mean, I think he's got a CNC back there. He's got like a 4 or 5 axis CNC lathe thing. Metal lathes. He's got lots of, you know, woodworking lathes, lots of casting areas, and he's always working on cool stuff. Like he's in the middle of like 50 projects at once. So it's a really cool shop if you haven't been there. I highly recommend stopping by. So let's see here. Rich wants blue. Let's see here. What do you want, Jamie? Did you say anything? Kim is going to pick your color. All right, purple. You get 1 color, so we're going to go with purple. And then let's see here. Where's Julie at? Is Julie still here? Pick a color, Julie. Pick a color, any color. We already got purple and blue. And we need the last one from Julie. Oh, and by the way, Julie, I took your advice on, I was asking for color combos on that one post on Instagram. And I did it a little bit different. I wanted to see something. I wanted to see green transparent dyed resin, and then I put white pearl in with it. So I took your color combo, and then there's some of that burl chunk in there. It's one of the green burl chunks, so I'll be getting that cleaned up pretty soon here. So purple, I'm thinking plum crazy, guys. What do you think? Doesn't like to focus on things very well. Oh, that's not too bad. Plum crazy. I twisted it the wrong way. Plum crazy, that's a good purple. And blue, let's see here. Let me look at some of these different colors. I'm thinking let's go with a darker blue. Let's go with the cobalt. The cobalt caster's choice. It's a little bit darker, kind of a dark, nice, solid blue. Julie says pink, nice. And then one of my favorites is vibrant pink, but I'm going to let you guys choose. Do you want raspberry pink? Is there flamingo pink? Hold on a minute. I got to look at my caster's choices. So many choices. Caster's choices. No, there's not one called flamingo. I don't think. I think that's a Pearl X color. Okay, so we got vibrant and raspberry pink. So I'm going to kind of show you. There's not a whole huge difference with these two. I really love vibrant pink. It is like in your face pink. Like it's super hot pink. I would call it they could have just called it like neon pink. I like that one. And then raspberry is a little bit more just kind of, your like cotton candy-ish pink. Not super soft. It's still pretty vibrant pink, but so let me know which one of those you guys like. And then we'll go with Plum Crazy and Cobalt Blue for the other two. Flamingo color. Florida color. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Yeah, I like that Cobalt Blue from Caster's Choice. It's a nice, rich color. I like, purples and blues. I like them to be like nice and, dark and stuff. Oh, we got timers going off. Julie likes, let's see here. Raspberry. Okay. All right. So we got raspberry pink, cobalt blue, and plum crazy. So what's everybody up to? You guys all having fun? It's Friday. Who's looking forward to autumn? I know it's been kind of warm in a lot of the country, like last week where it was kind of cold on the west coast here, which I liked. It dropped temperatures in the shop, but I got to be honest, guys, one thing to keep in mind when temperatures fluctuate in your shop and you're trying to do resin casting, which this really sucks because I make, blanks, I sell them. When temperatures, go from like 80 something down to like 70, that 10 degrees or so difference makes a huge difference. The resins thicken up when it's cooler, and things they act a little bit different. So just to warn you guys, if you're just getting into casting, you've been casting all summer and it's been like hot, when you get into the cooler temperatures, when things start dropping, your resins are going to thicken up a little bit and they're going to act slightly differently. You're going to have a little bit more working time, which is nice, but just kind of keep that in mind. And actually, I have a video on cold temperatures and resin casting, and I'm going to put some posts up reminding people to, hey, if you're kind of getting into casting, check this video out so you kind of understand some of the problems that actually occur with cold resin casting. So I'm going to go get a link to that so you guys have that right now. But I'm also going to be posting this. I've been trying to get this done, get some posts ready on Facebook, but I just haven't had time. So let me go get that. There we go. It's probably going to be, click the share button. And here we go. Here's the link to that video. If you're, like I said, for people that are kind of just getting into it, and like I said, definitely haven't seen a cold time with your resin casting, check that video out so you kind of know what to expect when that comes up. So first things first, we need to figure out how much resin do we need? And I got to be honest, I have no clue. Now, I think each one of these, if there was nothing in here, I think each one of them takes about 90 or 100 grams. I set my scales on grams personally, so I just go by that. Obviously, we've got some pretty big chunks of wood in there, so we don't need 90 grams necessarily for each one of those lines. But I'm thinking that I also don't like to be under. I'd rather, if I'm going to just, estimate, I'd rather overshoot than undershoot. Especially when you're working with Alumilite, it works, you got to kind of move fast. So what I think I'm going to do is we'll go with, knowing that I would have needed around, 180 to 200 grams to fill both of those things. And I may be kind of wrong about that. I always forget the actual number on these single ones, but considering that, let's just drop it by about, a third. So let's take like 60% of like 180. And that's about 100 grams. So I think I'm just going to even go a little higher, and let's go with 120. Now, I'm pulling out a notebook. I always take notes on all the castings. Most of you guys are probably sick of hearing this spiel. But, if anybody's new, this is how I do it. I always, whoops, wrong camera. I should really, there we go, casting camera. Hello. I always take notes, and I have lots of notebooks of all this stuff. This is one of the biggest things, like tips that I can give you if you're getting into resin casting. And frankly, if you're just getting into woodworking or photography or whatever, it's good to have a little notebook. But this lets me, recreate things instead of just kind of doing it and then going, oh, what did I put in this? I actually list out, what is the mold? What resin am I using? How much was it? What did I put in there? And then you can even go back and add notes. Did it work? Did it not work? What would you do different? And that way you just continually progress. You get better, and you can, recreate blanks. So the date today is 9/27, and we're doing what is it? Lilac. I'm getting all these flower things. Lilac. So the first one we're doing is some pen blanks. We are going to, I'm calling those the single P-Town subby molds. And you can pick those things up either on Fred's website, ptownsubby.com, or Turner's Warehouse has it also. They got all the Fred's molds. We're going to use, I actually think I'm going to use Alumilite Clear regular set. I still have some of that left from when Alumilite sent it to me. And the temperatures are a little cooler, so we got plenty of time, I think, to use this. So this one has a 5 to 7 minute working time, whereas the slow set has about a 12, kind of depending on the temperature and all that stuff. But I think we can use some of that up and we'll be good to go. So in this, we are putting, oh, I got powders or something on me. We're going to do 120 grams, and we're going to do 3 different colors. So let's just kind of break it into thirds there, divide that by 3. So we'll do 40 grams of each one of these colors, and we're going to do cobalt blue. We're going to do plum crazy. And we are going to do raspberry pink. And these are all Caster's Choice colors brand. And you can pick up Caster's Choice at Turner's Warehouse as well. They got all of them. So that's fun. What's happening in the chat? Are you guys having fun? Anybody got any big plans for the weekend? Any projects you're working on? Cool castings you want to make? It's hard to kind of talk and then... Yeah, I usually use slow set for everything, but we're not really mixing up that much resin anyway, so we'll just go with the regular. Because I buy it in huge quantities, I buy the 10 gallons at a time. I don't really keep regular set on hand. The only shortcoming that Alumilite Clear slow set has, let's say, where you would kind of really, you would want to go with the regular, is if you're doing very small amounts. Like I wouldn't really recommend using slow set for label blanks or even smaller amounts of resin. It's not meant to be poured in very small amounts. It's formulated for really large pours actually, but I find like single pen blank size, when I use it for PVC pipe pen blanks, that size and above in general, you'll get good results. It'll still cure, but especially for clear things, you're going to get kind of a little white haziness unless there's some way that you can artificially heat up the pressure pot. So I just say it's better just to go with regular set if that's the case, if you're doing really small stuff. All right, so we're doing, I didn't even need that size cup actually. That was a little bit big. We're doing 120 grams. Alumilite Clear is 1-to-1 by weight. Not to be confused with Amazing Clear Cast, which is also an Alumilite product. That one is by volume. So Alumilite Clear, though, this one is by weight, 1-to-1. So we got 60 grams of part A. We're doing 60 grams of part B here. I think I'm actually just going to pull, I have these little cups. They're paper cups. One thing you got to watch out for if you're using paper cups, some of them have a wax film which can screw up your casting. So if you use paper cups, get the ones without wax. One other thing is a lot of resins tend to kind of just like leak through paper. Like it'll happen with these, but it's not going to be that big of a deal because it's so little. But I'm going to get these guys ready. And what I'm going to actually do is we're going to dump because I only have about 5 to 7 minutes, I'm going to fill up our cups now. So each one of these cups is going to have 40 grams of resin in it. And so I'm going for, let's load it up. We're going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of powder. That ought to be extremely opaque. It's going to be a good amount of powder, for the resin. So let's load it up. I usually, for pen blanks, typically I'm going to go for like as opaque as possible. Lots of powder. You don't want to see that tube. So a 1/4 teaspoon of Plum Crazy. Everybody loves the Plum Crazy. Let's see here. Let's see here. Sculpting, molding, and casting characters from Death Proof. That's cool. Nice. That kind of casting is always harder. Like if you're trying to get, out pretty much out of the mold, good results, that's always, to me, that's tougher than what I'm doing. We're just kind of dumping colors together, So it's a little bit easier, I find, to do it this way. So I'm always impressed with casters that are doing that kind of stuff. It's a little bit more finicky. So I'm mixing it up in the cup here. Sorry, I'm kind of off camera. I was reading the thing. And I'm missing some, I think. Oh, okay, we're good. Everybody's talking about... Has anybody heard, is there any word on Maker Central next year? Nick kind of alluded to the fact that there's probably going to be one, but I haven't heard any information yet. Am I out of the loop, or are we all out of the loop? Hey, Jordan. How's it going, Bruce? What are you up to? All right, so I'm going to start my clock right now just so I know how much time has gone by. But I'm going to put my cups over here. We're going to put 40 grams of each in each one of these guys. Zero that out. Make sure your scale has zeroed fully. I went a little over, no big deal. Doesn't have to be perfect. I was just, trying to get pretty close. Okay. So we got our blue, we got our purple, and then we got our pink right here. So I'm going to add the pink in there. And then mix it up. Some people like to add, their powders to like the part A or part B, and you can do that either way. One of the reasons I don't typically add stuff to the resins to like a part A and part B is I kind of got in the habit when I started, and I think it's a good way to go for beginners especially, but I like to have clear resin when I'm mixing it so that I know when it's mixed up. There's no little wispy trails of stuff. Especially with Alumilite, once the wispiness goes away, it's pretty much good to go. Like you're ready to rock. With epoxies, it's a little bit less important, I would say, because you just got to mix longer. I don't think that I would rely solely on, once it's just not wispy. I find epoxies, typically you got 45 minutes of working time anyway, so it's not like you're in a hurry. You may as well just sit there and stir it and make sure, because epoxies tend to be a little bit more finicky, require a little bit longer mixing, I find, than Alumilite clear. Many of them, that's not, I haven't tried every epoxy out there, but in my experience, most of them, you may as well just go for it like that. Mix it for a couple minutes and be good. Joel, what's up? Got the money blanks. Nice. You got your spot. Sweet. Awesome. Can't wait to meet you. Have fun. All right, so we got our colors mixed up here. Now another thing you can do if you're trying to mix colors and keep them separated, you can use temperature. I want to do a video on this temperature thing. As long as the temperatures are kind of even, then temperature is a really good way to go. But I've found in my shop that temperature that you need to pour at will fluctuate. So it's still kind of dependent upon things, temperatures, but as long as it's relatively temperature stable in your shop, then you're good. So I'm actually I like to have my clock. So we're at 3 minutes right now. So I like to know kind of how long have I been working with it. I also like to check the temperature. and just kind of see, you know, that's more information. So we're at around 100 and something, which is probably pretty close to a good temperature to start pouring and keep these separated. But the thing that I find is you really need to know the thickness, you know, like understand what thickness you're looking for. I think that's kind of important, knowing that, and, you know, understanding the time that you have and the temperature. It's kind of the best way to go, is just use all of them. So I'm going to start pouring these guys. And actually what I can do with these paper cups, the nice thing about paper cups is you can basically just pick them all up and pour them at once. Now, I don't have a lot of experience doing this, so I'm probably going to screw this all up. You see how they're really easily bendable? This is one of the nice things, is you can kind of pour them, you know, at the same time. And so paper cups in one sense are pretty cool to use. If I would have put the pink in a paper cup, it would have been, you know, fine. We would have been able to pour all three at once, and you get, you know, some pretty cool effects, some swirling and all that. Typically, I usually just, most of my blanks I'm pouring separately, each color. So, but I just wanted to kind of share that. That is another way that you can go. Let's add a little bit more pink in there. And then we'll top it off. We got a lot of purple. Let's add some blue to some of these areas here. So I'm interested to see how these blanks turn out. I think they're going to be cool. Okay, so we way overshot the amount of resin that we needed for these, but like I said, I'd rather be on I'd rather have too much resin than too little. I'm just going to kind of top this off. We're at 5 minutes right now with the time, so it's a good time to get these things in the pressure pot. I always, especially with silicone molds, you always want to put it on something that's flat and hard. So I'm going to put it on this little rack here, and then into the pressure pot it goes. One thing I'm going to do also is, let's see if I got something quick. It's good to have little pieces of HDPE sitting around, something non-stick. I'm going to put that on top of the pieces of wood so that they don't come floating out. Sometimes that can kind of happen. The resin can get under it and kind of move those things around. So I just put a little bit of weight on top, and that should keep everything settled down in there in place. And we get on our pressure pot, and I'm going to take this up to 70 psi. With pressure pots, it just depends on, you know, you got to be careful of what the max psi is for your pressure pot. These ones have a max of 80, so I always just go to 70. My rule of thumb is to stay 10 psi below whatever the sticker says the max is, just to be on the safe side. The bare minimum for resin, you need to be above 40, and it can't drop below that, basically. So a good number, if you have one of the cheaper pots that only has like a 60 psi rating, is just go to 50, and as long as it stays at 50, you're good to go. It's not like a huge, gigantic advantage to going really high, I don't think. But again, you don't want to be below, you know, 40. That is the absolute minimum, and frankly, I wouldn't even really want to be near 40, personally. Better off going to 50 or so. Now, there's no downsides to going higher either. There's no, you know, but I don't know that it's a significant difference or that much better. I'd rather be higher. That way there's room to whatever. You're not getting anywhere close to 40, but basically the way the pressure works, what it's doing is getting rid of the air bubbles that are in there. Alumilite clear, since it is a really fast setting resin, you know, there's no way for the air bubbles to come out on their own. So we use pressure, and what that does is the pressure collapses the bubbles. It shrinks them basically. And once it has set up, they're effectively just gone. They're not there anymore. So in general, you know, the higher the pressure, the smaller those bubbles are going to get. So in that sense, higher pressure is kind of better, but as long as you get it up around 50, you're fine. So I just wanted to kind of mention that. No, it's definitely pink. Definitely pink. Probably just the camera. Probably just the camera. All right, so now we got another set of pen blanks, and these ones are going to be slightly different here. I moved that other camera, so I'm just going to put it on this camera so you can kind of see what's going on here. Quit wiggling, camera. So we're going to do it this way, have a little bit of a different orientation in this one. So it should be kind of fun. So let's do, let's see here. How are we going to do this? Try to pick. How much was left? A lot, actually. And, you know, I usually recommend that you have like a pipe or something, but I don't even really want to mess with it. I only have so many pressure pots, so I kind of wasted some resin there, but there was a good amount left over. I'm going to go a little bit lower next time for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, hopefully. Let's see. Nice. Nancy, did you say burgundy and copper on Facebook for when I was asking about colors for blanks? Was that you? I can't remember who it was. I think it must have been. It had to have been. I actually did that. That was the other one. I did two batches, and I did the burgundy and copper, and they turned out pretty cool too. So good pick. If that was you, I'm pretty sure that was you. All right, so wrong view. Let's put it on me. So let's pick some colors. So I'm trying to think of a good way to like pick people or do something like that. How about let's just do it this way. It was you. Oh, nice. Yeah, I did one with that. And so we got some burl in there, and that burgundy and copper looks really rich looking. It's really nice. I haven't got it polished up though. It's going to really pop, I think, once I've gotten it kind of sanded. So I'll get some pictures of those two blanks. I did that one, and then I did a green and pearl one based on Julie's idea. So, and I got more. I was actually going to get more done, but I just didn't get around to it. So what I'm going to do is just you guys throw out, you know, go in the chat and just toss out lots of ideas. So, and I'm just going to pick the one that I like the best. So don't, you know, it's not just one color. Go for, you know, however many, well, let's only just max it out at 3, okay? I don't want to do a ton of colors. We only have a little bit of resin that we're mixing up. But put out some stuff in the chat, and I'll just pick the one that sounds like the coolest to me. How about that? Sober? I don't have sober color. I do have drunk color, but not sober. I'm going to bring my little notepad over here. So I'm going to just kind of start. I'm going to look up and go back through these, but I'm going to get the notes going. So pen blank number 2, we're doing kind of quarter round again. I'm just going to, yeah, we're using the single P-Town subby, and we're doing regular clear again. One of the other nice things is if you're not doing gigantic pours that are like over 32 ounces, then you're probably better off just going with the Lumelite Clear regular set for most things. It'll be quicker. You can pull it out of the pressure pot in only like an hour. Whereas the slow set, you're going to have to wait, you know, 2 to 4 hours. Now, still, even for pen blanks, I use the slow set personally for everything. But in many cases, if all I'm doing is, you know, a couple different colors, color swirl stuff, you know, pen blanks, then there's really no reason to go with slow set if you have enough time to work with the regular. So let's stop real quick. You guys are tossing out some cool ideas, it looks like. Let's see here. I don't know what color lilac is. It's kind of like a light purple, maybe. Aqua, orange and silver. I like that. Green and purple would be kind of cool. Halloween colors would be kind of fun. Black and orange would be neat. I kind of like that idea. I got a really cool project for you guys for Halloween. I hope so. It seems like, in my head, it seems like it's going to be pretty cool, hopefully. Which we'll probably do next week, so be looking for that. I got to get a few things. Pastel purple, yeah. Okay. Crimson and white? Yeah, I don't know about that. No thanks. Although I will say that that is by far one of my most popular pen blanks. Rust and orange. It's kind of the same color, isn't it? Creamsicle. Nice. Ooh, green and dark silver. That's kind of a neat idea. All right, so let's see. I'm leaning towards either black and orange. I like that. Or I like the green and like a dark silver. That's actually pretty cool. Green and silver. I'm looking at my colors here. I will say that the Blaze Orange is by far one of the best colors that Caster's Choice has. I love that one. Blaze Orange. Let's do some orange and black. And I'm going to use black dye and then the orange powder. All right. Blue and maize, that's okay with me. I'm all right with that one. That one's a tough one though. I can't get that color with just dyes. They bleed every single time. And if you bleed yellow and blue, that turns green. So there ain't a Wolverines fan out there that's going to want blue, yellow, and green pen blanks. So I had to pull those out of my store, unfortunately. Yeah, black hat, orange shirt. That's right. We'll do a little bit of fun stuff for Halloween. I like that idea. Sometimes if you overthink it, you know, it messes things up. So let's try just like 100 grams this time. It's probably still going to be too much, but so that's 50 times 2. And we're going to do more orange than black. We're going to go 70% and 30%. A lot of times for a lot of my blanks, I have different ratios for these colors. So let's do mostly orange with a little bit of black in there. So what's 70% of 100? I don't know. 70 grams, and we're going to do Blaze Orange. Oh, and one thing to make sure that I forgot to put on the first one was I put a 1/4 teaspoon in each one of those cups last time. So for 70 grams, same thing. We're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon. That ought to be plenty. And then we're going to do black dye. We're just going to, the way that the Alumilite dyes work, you can only go up to, I'm not on camera, I guess. You can only go up to 5%. This is, okay, so bear with me, guys. This is how they say it. And this is an Alumilite dye. Let me just get one with the right label. Alumilite dyes, that's what I use for dyes. You can only add up to 5% factored against the part A is how they say it. So basically 5% of half of the resin that you're putting in, or that would equal 2.5% of the total amount of resin in the cup, part A and part B. So I just base it on, you know, that part A part, just because that's, again, how I started out. But you don't want to put too much dye in your resin or else it's going to have curing problems. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with 1%. And again, like I was saying, that's factored against half of the total amount of resin. So in this case, I'm going to split these into 70 grams total for the orange, 30 grams total for the black. So that 1% number is going to be factored against only 15 grams, half of the total amount. So that's 1.5 grams of dye. Okay, that I realize that is extremely difficult and hard to kind of follow, but I just base my numbers on half of the amount of resin that I'm putting the dye in. And you don't want to go over 5% using that method. All right, so 100 grams. I'm going to get my little thing out here, get you guys looking at what's happening. Zero it out. So we're going 50 grams of part A. And I'm mixing all of it up at once first, and then kind of splitting it off into 70 and 30. My scales are going all over the place. 49.7. 50. So we're supposed to get some weather, some storminess going on this weekend. up here, so we should get a little bit of snow in the mountains. It doesn't matter because I snowboard. It's not enough to do anything, but it's always fun when it snows. I love snow. 43, 46, 48, and we're at 50. Okay, so we're gonna mix this up, and I'm gonna get a little cup, get one of those little plastic guys out. Zero that out now. So here we go. Jamie, what's Jamie doing? Gunmetal and gunstock brown. That might be pretty cool. Brown and gunmetal. We'll have to do that sometime. I haven't really seen any mixtures, just using the pearl powders. Like, I haven't found any that are like terrible looking, just using any color that's in the pearls. They all tend to, it may not be like what your favorite color combination, but they generally tend to look pretty good. And a lot of the weird ones turn out pretty cool. We'll have to try that sometime. Got to re-zero my scale out here. You got to make sure, sometimes your scale kind of wanders around. One thing to watch out with scales is fans. It'll fluctuate and move around a lot sometimes if there's air moving on it. All right, so we got our thing going there. So we need 30 grams in here. Oh, 30.2 grams, guys. I nailed it. Nailed it. And then we're going to add 1.5. Is that right? I'm just going to double check that math. Yeah, 0.15 grams, which honestly the scale doesn't even actually, that's really too sensitive. So I'm just going to go 2 drops of black. Maybe that was a pretty small one. So about 2 drops of black. That'll be fine. I'm gonna mix that in there. And we want to make sure that we wait till the end of the working time with this, because that way the colors will stay kind of separated and swirl rather than just kind of bleed. So we got our black dye ready. We need to add our 1/4 teaspoon of blaze orange in Halloween fashion. It's coming, guys. It's coming. Get your candy corns out. Woo! It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Do you guys watch the Charlie Brown shows for Christmas and Halloween and Easter? Thanksgiving, they got the Thanksgiving one too. We always watch those. It's fun. Dark Matter, what's up? Oh no, Mert's out of here already? Oh. Okay, so we're all ready to rock here. Kind of keep an eye on that. We're gonna wait till, like I said, the end of the working time before we pour. So we can kind of have it nice and thick. And those colors will stay separated and we'll get a nice little swirly kind of mixture. Another way you could do it, and it kind of, your mileage can vary, but you can kind of wait till the end of the working time and just dump one in the other cup, and they'll kind of pour out, in a kind of a swirl. But like I said, you really got to kind of practice. I'm not really that good at it. There's kind of a technique to doing that to get good results. So just want to mention that, but they call that like a dirty pour. You can just pour all your colors together. They do that a lot in resin art, where you're just kind of pouring colors on a canvas. Rimless cups. Yeah, I really like these cups too. I get them on Amazon. I don't really care about the rimless part. The big deal is they're pretty flat. Everything's flat, smooth. There's no ridges. You really got to watch that with your cups, because big ridges can kind of trap part A or part B, and you can get some kind of funkiness when you're trying to mix it. It won't fully mix. So you're always looking for really smooth cups, and these ones are pretty good. They're not necessarily cheap, but they work. All the sexy people are here. So the clock's at about 3:26. We probably want to pour this around, like, temperature wise. Oh, that's already at 110. 112, yeah. So we're probably getting pretty close already. So I'm going to get our mold out here. These ones kind of look like, I don't know, if you really use your imagination, they can be like jack-o'-lantern teeth. Sort of. So I'm going to pour a little bit of the orange in. And then a little bit of the black. I'm just going to kind of keep pouring these two. I think these are going to turn out pretty cool. And we'll top these guys off. The orange is starting to get a little bit thick here. I think we're pretty good. Oh, tipped it over. And then the same thing, I need to go find a piece of HDPE to stick on top of this, because I don't want our little pieces floating up. So the resin's kind of overflowing already, so this is probably just going to make it worse, but whatever. So I'm just going to kind of do that, and then I'm going to pull out my P-Town subby rack. I really like this rack. It's a nice rack, but it does work really well. Totally modular. Good invention by Fred over at P-Town Subby. And then we'll just pop this guy down in. And we'll pressurize it, and we're ready to rock and roll. So we got couple different styles of pen blanks going already. So the third and final one. Third and final. I think I'm going to keep the smaller little piece that I cut off of there for down the road. So we're just going to do one more casting with the lilac. Is that right? Lilac? Yeah. Lilac. We were pretty good on the amount on that one. Not a whole lot left over. And 70 PSI, and we're ready to rock. Now, we're using regular set, so I could pull these in about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the ambient temperature in the shop. So, using that regular set. So, here's the last piece. We cut this, it was kind of a full half round. Cut it down, and I kind of like this little, knobbiness. I liked this side of it for the blank that we're gonna make, and I'm gonna keep this for myself. We're gonna maybe do something with this a little bit later down the road. But this guy we're gonna put in a 2-inch PVC pipe, so it's gonna be a pretty simple casting. But the cool thing about this is, when you turn into this, I think it's gonna be kind of cool because you're gonna have this kind of bumpy, fun stuff going on with the bark. And I'm going to leave the bark on. I already mentioned that, for the pen blank ones, I stripped the bark off. But we're going to leave it, and hopefully everything will be okay. The problem with leaving bark on, and this is stabilized wood, but the problem with leaving that on is it can kind of, you know, crack off. But it seems to be pretty well adhered on, and we're going to leave it because I don't think we're really going to cut into it much. So first thing I need to do, and I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag. These aren't even released yet, so keep your eyes out for Turner's Warehouse. They're coming out with these really awesome plugs. They're totally flat. They work. They fit perfect into the tubes. I've been playing with these things for a couple weeks now, and they're awesome. They work really well. But first thing I need to do is go and spray this out with some Stoner. Not sure who came up with that company name, but the product works pretty good. So this is the Stoner urethane release. It's what you use with Alumilite. So I'm just going to spray out our pipe. I'm a little bit running low here. Time to toss that guy. So we got our pipe ready. Let's flip back to the casting view. Where did our plug go? So we got that. We got our plug ready. Like I said, these things stay in. Everything's good to go on these. So now we need to figure out what we're doing with this. I'm going to put the wood back into the oven there. I want to keep that nice and warm. This one, the one stipulation is it needs to be some sort of transparent blank. So toss out some ideas, guys, and let me know what you want to see. But we need to keep it like totally transparent. So I'm thinking, you know, we either want to go with where we just add a little bit of transparent, you know, tint, you know, just tint the resin like a little bit of blue in there or purple, but it's totally see-through, kind of like, you know, stained glass idea. We can add a little bit of effect. We could add some color shift, you know, stuff going on. But throw out some ideas. Let me know what you guys have in mind. But we want to keep it transparent so we can see that wood inside the blank. And I'm thinking either like a handle or, you know, most likely I'll probably cut it into however many bottle stoppers we can get out of that, 2 or 3. And so I'm thinking, you know, we want to keep it intact somewhat. Let's see here. Yeah, puff, puff, pass. Purple and green. Well, it's kind of hard to get multiple colors. Yeah, glitters. We could put glitter in there. That's, you know, like, so it's going to need to be, we could go clear or tinted resin. We could add some, like, you know, glittery effects in there, stuff like that. That's what I'm thinking. Clear green, I like that. A picture of Kim. We don't have any pictures of Kim, unfortunately. I don't have a printer. Violet, I like that. That's probably the smart way to go, is tint the resin violet, like a you know, lilac kind of color. We'll have to really think about that. I actually do have some purple glitter. The long kind of, you know, the strands of stuff that you guys see in the pen blanks that I make. The glitter pen blanks. Actually, speaking of that, I need to order some more purple. Ooh. I'm thinking a little bit of, oh, let's put it on the right. And actually, I'm gonna pull this. Don't look at the camera real quick, guys. Don't look. Don't look. I know some of you looked. You just can't help but look. What do you guys think about this? Troll hair from the glitter, you know, it's Glitter Hippo. I get this on solarcolordust.com. What do you guys think? We'll add a little bit of troll hair in there. Not too much, not too much, just a little bit. It'll add some bling. You know, I know Kevin wants to see some bling. I don't think Kevin's here, unfortunately. Glitter doesn't melt in resin. You're killing me. Clear purple plus, yeah, let's do that. Let's do this with the troll hair. We're going to do it, guys. I know some of you guys wanted to see some greens and different stuff, but I really think that if we're going to cast lilac, we really got to go with kind of a purple color. So, and the other thing that I'm going to do, we're going to add a very, very tiny pinprick, tiny amount. These Alumilite dyes, if you're just trying to tint resin, a lot of them are extremely concentrated colors. So if you're, especially for folks that are used to using the alcohol tints or dyes, that stuff is super not concentrated. Like you could add tons of it and it's not going to ever really change or darken the color of the resin. Alumilite dyes are highly concentrated. So, you know, just one drop can, especially with the purple's a dark color. What I do literally is it's a pinprick. I'm going to literally pull a toothpick out and I'm just going to put a tiny amount on there, just kind of, you know, wave it around in the cup. And you just kind of work your way up to the darkness that you want. But we're really going for extremely light. So just a little bit of a warning. Now, some that are not very dark or anything, the yellow, that's not really going to change much. The orange is generally pretty see-through red. But your blue, that gets dark. Ocean blue is not bad. But the regular blue, that one can get dark. The violet gets dark. Brown, black, white. Green can get dark. So there's some of them get pretty dark, some of them don't necessarily. Just watch out if you're trying to just get a little bit of tint in clear resin though. Try, you know, just pull out a toothpick and just keep adding a little bit more until you get that you know, color consistency that you want. One thing that I have not tried really is using alcohol inks. I think that, you know, they're pretty good because you can get certain colors that really are almost impossible unless you added white, like pinks and things. Like there's certain shades of colors that I think the alcohol inks would be better at. And if you guys aren't familiar with Heath Knuckles, most of you should be, but if you haven't seen his videos, he uses those in a lot of the pieces that he's made, and you get these really beautiful, you know, transparent colors, and it makes it pretty simple with that. I haven't had time, I haven't picked any up yet. So what am I doing? Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to remember how much resin this is going to take. So this is 2 inches, and we're probably going to get about 5 inches tall. Let me see here. Let me see here. So I'm going to measure from the top of this red thing. Yeah, so we got about 5 inches, almost 6. I think I'm going to mix up about 200 I think I'm just going to mix up 300 grams because I don't know offhand. That's probably too much, but I'll try and, I don't know. Transparent resin is kind of useless, but we'll do something with the extra if we have it. So we're doing, I'm just going to call it stopper size, stoppers with lilac. We're doing a 2-inch, this is 2-inch PVC pipe. And we're using regular clear. So we're going to mix up 300 grams, that's 150. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 151 grams of part B. This only works with this product. Let me get on the right thing here. But I recommend if you're going for totally transparent, it's not a bad idea to add a little bit of extra part B when you're using Alumilite Clear or the Clear Slow Set. This does not work. You do not want to do this with any other type of brand of resin or epoxies, definitely not epoxies. Only Alumilite Clear specific. It just helps to ensure that you get a really crisp clear, you know, that kind of optically clear casting. Definitely do that when you're just casting a clear blank, but even for totally transparent, not a bad idea. Not going to affect the blanks in any way. It's just going to ensure that you have a good mix. And you get a nice clear casting. So we're going purple pinprick of dye. And we're going to add troll hair glitter. And I'm not going to add too much glitter. We're just going to add, you know, like a scoop or something. I'm going to kind of look and see what it looks like. So let's get our camera ready right there. Let's see here. Someone make, I actually gave Jamie a murder blank. It was a suicide blank. But mine wasn't made with polyester resin because I hate that stuff. And that's actually what the murder part is. But I did give him one with aluminum shavings in it. But it turned quite well, actually. So, all All right, so let's see. We zeroed out our cup. We're doing 300 grams, so 150 grams of part A. Whoa, too much, too much. I got to take some of that out. I went over, guys. I went over. All right, 150. Part A. And again, we're going to do 151, part B. Who's excited to see the Joker movie? I am. Actually nailed it right on the dot, guys. 151. Here we go. I need to drink some lemon juice. Why? Extra whiskey. No, I just need a drink of water. I'm a little dry throat today. Oh, I'm spilling it. Oops. Don't get too crazy when you're mixing. Your resin will go flying all over the place. So we're mixing it up good, scraping the sides, the bottom of the cup. That's one of the negative things about Nevada. It's so dry here that, you get kind of a dry throat sometimes and all that. But it sure is nice for resin casting, I'll tell you that. All right, so we're good to go there. We got 7 minutes of time. So here's my toothpick. I got my toothpick out. Try and get that kind of facing us. So I'm going to pull out my Alumilite violet dye. Let me wipe my hands off because I got resin all over the place. I don't want resin all over my dyes as well. That just makes things sticky. Okay. So I'm just literally putting a tiny, tiny amount. Just getting it. I don't know if you guys could even see that. Tiny amount, and then I'm going to just kind of waft it around in here. That's it. And then we're going to mix it in. And that's probably going to be enough. That's more than enough right there. So, especially in clear resin, you don't need much dye to tint it. Okay? Looking good. Perfect. I would say that's what I was going for. Now, let's add our glitter in. And it doesn't melt. There's no problems with it. Maybe if you're using a resin that really kicks really high, but I've never had any problems with glitter and Alumilite or glitter and liquid diamonds. Okay, so I guess some glitters, maybe they do melt, but these ones are fine. There's no problem with these ones. So I probably added a little too much, but I still think it's going to look good. Once we get the wood in there, it's going to... It's still going to be visible. We're going to see everything. Probably added a little bit too much. So be a little bit careful sometimes if you're, adding glitters and all kinds of goodies in there. Go slow and you'll be good to go. So at this point, I'm just going to wait a little bit. Now, one thing that can happen with certain glitters, they can sink or some of them can float. So again, like a lot of times, you're kind of waiting till that gel state with the resin to pour it. It just tends to work better. One of the other reasons I like Alumilite, the fast working time of it, is you don't have to wait 45 minutes. It's going to start hardening in like 7 to 8 minutes. So you don't really need to sit around for a long time if you need something to stay put, stay suspended in the resin. Like glitters. So I'm going to wait till about 5 minutes. I would say my clock's at about 2:30. I'm just going to wait till around 5 minutes. That should be fine. The temperature is going to be probably 110 or something like that. That ought to be good enough, and then we'll dump our piece of wood in there and then we'll be ready to go. It's humid in Michigan. Why? That never happens. Yeah, I don't, it is kind of nice because, like, you know, humidity's kind of nice. I like it in some cases, but man, when it's hot and humid, then I'm like, man, nope, too much for me. Give me dry. I'd rather just be dry and cracking than... I gotta be honest, the clock's only at 3:20, but this stuff's already kind of warm and it's already kind of thick. So I think we're good to go. It's not, the stuff's gonna stay suspended. So let's pour it in there. I'm gonna pour about, I don't know, up to about there. It's about 2/3 of it. Then I'm gonna toss our chunk of wood down in. Pretty close to the right amount there. And we're just going to top it off a little bit. And one thing that I'm going to do, just in case that wood decides to float up or move or do anything, what I'm going to do is actually just put a piece of tape over the top of the mold, just to make sure it doesn't float up too far or out. I don't think it's gonna, but this way we don't have to worry about it. There's no question it's not coming out of there. And turn you guys around to this pressure pot. What I'm gonna do is put a, let's see here. I mean, you can basically just toss this in, but I'd like to put this on something kind of wood or something like that, something hard and flat. We're at like 5 minutes, so it'll be fine. I would generally recommend putting it on something flat, though. That's the best way to go. Shouldn't be a problem, though. So we'll get our pressure pot. My hand's right in the way. Sorry about that, guys. It's just what happens. And the camera's right next to the pressure pot. You're going to get some hand action. Hands are going to be blocking. All right. And then pressure to 70. There we go. So that's the stream, I guess. Big thank you to Kevin for sending in that I keep wanting to call it tulip, that lilac. Let me get my air hose off of my pressure pot real quick here. It's fun. I can't wait to see how these pen blanks turn out. I've never really done anything like I did with the kind of quarter rounds, the way that we did that for pen blanks. And I'm excited to see how the stopper or the handle blank looks. I know it was super simple. I basically just kind of tossed it in a tube, but because it's got kind of weird angles on it, when you turn it round, it's gonna actually be pretty cool. But hopefully we'll get a good view of that kind of bark, that kind of knotty, like little branch cut off things, whatever, the knobbiness of that kind of raw piece of wood. It should be pretty cool. I'm excited about it. So tape is a very useful tool, yes. So let's see here. Just make sure I'm not missing anything here. No, the glitter's not going anywhere, Robert. That's the one thing so the stuff that I get, that they call it tinsel glitter, that stuff from Solar Color Dust, it doesn't move. That's one that with Alumilite anyway, and the temperature in the shop right now is 76 degrees. So if it's like 120 degrees in your shop, the resin's going to be thin and it may tend to want to sink. But in general, in like normal kind of room temperature conditions with Alumilite clear, it doesn't move at all. So it's pretty cool, pretty awesome. Yep, I definitely don't like cheap pots, that's for sure. CA Technologies work really well and they're safe. So yep, I buy spendy, but they're not even, Binks pots are spendy. Those things are up at over $500. So just depends on what features you want on your pot and what your safety level and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, guys, I hope, let's see here, leggings. I need to work on the leggings. Hopefully we'll get the Dunkin' Junk leggings up. If anybody wants to pick up Dunkin' Junk t-shirts, they're available now in my Teespring store. There's a little kind of store thing down below the video screen here. Let's see, what else is going on? Again, don't forget about the classes down in Phoenix, November 10th. But you want to sign up, soon so that you get your spot. There's only 12 spots available. The only one that's still available is the beginner 101 101 sounds like one-on-one. So we're going to call it beginner resin casting class. There's a few spots left for that one, but the one-on-ones are all taken up. Let's see here. Robert, that's with either the slow or the regular. It doesn't really matter. And like I said, if you're worried about stuff moving, then wait. Don't pour it until the end of the working time. Then it really doesn't matter which resin you're using. At that point, it'll stay locked as long as it's going to harden within a few minutes. It won't have time to move anyway on you. Let's see. So the class is down in Phoenix, November 10th. And let's see here. What else is happening? I don't know. Can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but thank you guys all for joining the fun tonight. I got to go get to my mom's birthday party. That's going to be pretty fun, and I'll let her know that you guys all said happy birthday. She'll love that. So next week, next Friday, we're going to work on a Halloween blank. We're not going to do like the project and stuff, but I got an idea in my head for a Halloween kind of project, which means I need to get the blank made and start turning it. Obviously before Halloween. So next week should be pretty fun. Same time, Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. I hope to see you guys all there. And I guess that's about it. So have a great evening and have a great weekend. Thanks for joining the fun, and I will see you guys all next Friday.